Y'all, we've got a pretty big problem out here in the hen house. Today I'm going to have to do something about it. Come and take a look. So one of the reasons that we have the project underway right now to completely redo the barn and to get everything organized is so that we can take care of the chickens a little bit better. Their chicken coop is just here behind me and it's built into the barn. We are currently standing out inside their run. So there's plenty of space inside a protected area for the chickens to move around. Plus, they have a relatively large yard. They've got about a quarter acre out here that they run around in. It has plenty of tall grass, and they enjoy being outside most of the day, but they do spend their nights inside of the coop. And we do close the door up and secure everything up, and the problem we've been having is what's taking place at night when we're not around. And this noisy hen over here has been trying to tell me something's wrong in the coop for quite a while. The one there in the center is Spice. And I'm actually surprised that we're finding her out here. She's a little disturbed right now because I'm keeping her from her favorite pastime, which is sitting on the nest. She's a pretty broody chicken, and she gets pretty angry when I force her to get off the nest so I can get the eggs. And she was trying to tell me something I just wasn't listening to. Let me show you. So you can see just inside the door of the coop here, we have a couple of milk crates. And we've been using these milk crates, we've got 2 here and 2 on the other side of the coop, as nesting boxes. So we just keep nesting material inside of the boxes for the chickens, and that's where they lay their eggs. So when I come in late in the afternoon, I usually find eggs down in the boxes. And we hope when we get out here that it's going to look something like this, where we have good solid eggs that are ready to go with no chicken sitting on them. We can just pick the eggs up. But that isn't always the case. Quite often, Spice is in here sitting on one of these nests, and she protects whatever egg she's on like nobody's business. For the longest time, I thought that her defense of the nest was just that. It was just her being stubborn, not wanting me to take the eggs out from under her. But it turns out there's a little bit more going on out here in the coop at night than what I was aware of. And I didn't discover it until last night. So I came home after being away from the property for a few hours. And it was well after dark. A storm had rolled through. And I needed to get out here and get the eggs picked up. So the chickens had already come in for the night. And this door needed to be closed, but before I could close the door, I wanted to pick up the eggs. And when I came in, what I saw kind of caught me by surprise. This nest box had a snake in it, and it was poking through one of these tiny little holes in the back of the nest box. Well, fortunately for me, the snake had gobbled up an egg, so it had an egg stuck in its throat. And it was trying desperately to either get rid of the egg or pull the egg back through the box. And that's when I remembered something I've been seeing quite a bit of late. So we've been concerned that the chickens might be eating the eggs because we'd come in to pick up eggs and we'd find a nest that was slightly fouled. There'd be a broken egg, a little bit of egg yolk and whites left over on the hay, and a tiny little chunk of eggshell. And we figured the chickens were eating an egg. Maybe they pecked it open accidentally and then just decided to eat the rest of it. And they were eating the shells as well, but it turns out that's not what was happening. All of that residue was coming from the snake. So the snake has been living out here in the chicken coop. And the first evidence I had that I should have paid attention to were holes like this. And I would see these deep holes in the bedding, but they would be underneath a chicken box so that the box would actually be leaning over to one side. And I thought maybe the chickens were just digging after sow bugs or something in the bedding, and they were disturbing the box and digging out from under it. It turns out that's the snake. So what looks like solid footing under our feet here is really just loose bedding. And it is such loose material that the snake has just been living up in the corners of the chicken coop. He's been living up underneath the wall here and burrowing around underneath in all of this loose bedding that's in here. And this bedding has got to go. So that's one of the reasons we're doing the big cleanup, is to try to get all of this old bedding material out of here. First of all, this is good nitrogen-rich material. It's going to need to be composted, but we'll need this in the garden next year for fertilizer. So I want to make sure we get this cleaned out and get it into a pile along with some carbon material so that we can get it composted for next year's garden. And I'm hopeful that getting some good dry fresh material in here will also discourage the snake. Now I did give him a good whack with a shovel. He did manage to get away out of the corner of the coop, but I don't think he'll be back anytime soon. The other thing we're going to do is hang a set of nest boxes for these guys so that they don't have to continue to use these egg crates that are stuck down on the ground. And the folks who built this coop originally thought that these boxes would work well for laying boxes. They do not. The chickens don't like the open concept. They prefer to have nice quiet little spaces to lay eggs in. The milk crates do kind of serve that purpose. They can get down inside of the crate and they feel protected enough to go ahead and lay there. But they didn't like these boxes up top. Typically some of the chickens will roost there at night, so they do sleep up there. And they do use their roosting bars, although I will be replacing these. The branch that's curved doesn't really fit a chicken's foot, so we'll be replacing these with some nice flat 2x4s for the chickens. So these boxes on the back really don't serve the purpose they were intended to, so they need to be ripped out. And I think getting those out of there, putting in some new roosting bars, and getting some laying boxes up off the ground is probably going to solve our problem with the snakes. And y'all, this snake was no small matter. He's been well fed on chicken eggs for quite some time. So he was about 3.5 to 4 feet long, nice and thick, very healthy specimen. I'm not hoping to encounter him because I couldn't really get a good look at him last night. It was very dark. I was working with a flashlight. It was really hard to tell exactly what kind of snake it was. Now the chances are it's just a simple chicken snake, not a really big thing to worry about. But if it is poisonous, I'd rather not encounter it in the middle of the night when I'm reaching into a nest box. So we're going to have to get those nest boxes up off of the ground. We've gone ahead and purchased a solution. We've got it all assembled. It's just a matter of getting this thing set up on the wall now. And with just a little bit of ingenuity and a couple of quick tools, we have some nest boxes up for the chickens. Now I know it may look like the nest boxes are not level. They are actually perfectly level. It's the wall that's not perfectly plumb. No, I did not build these walls or the door. The door functions, it works. It opens, it closes, keeps the chickens in. So we haven't done anything about correcting it. And hopefully they'll use these boxes instead of these old nesting boxes. I'm going to leave these in here just for this evening. We'll be back out to feed the chickens in about a half hour or so. And I'm hoping that we're going to get a couple of eggs laid in the meantime. Do have some curious hens, so they'll be coming in as soon as I'm out of the way. And we'll see if they decide to make use of the new Rollaway nest boxes in their coop. So some quick lessons learned from the snake in the hen house. You need to spend time with your animals every day. You need to know how they behave normally. So when they start behaving abnormally, like calling out and fussing at you when you try to take them off of a nest box, there may be a reason other than the fact that they're just broody. There could be some other reason for them to bristle the way that they are. So pay attention when your animal's behavior changes. Second, you need to be spending time inside of your coops and your pens. You need to see what's actually in the ground, under feet, and along the edges of fence lines and walls. Things do have a tendency to change, and over time of accessing the same space over and over again, we tend to get complacent about what we see. And it's those areas in the corners and up against the bottoms of walls that are going to be the most interesting in an animal pen. Those are the places you're going to find the things you hope never to see. Finally, keep your pens clean. If there is no loose debris in the bottom of the pen, there's no place for a snake to burrow in and steal eggs from you. So that's something we're going to have to correct out here in our coop. But we've taken the first big step, which is to get the chickens up off of the ground so there's not eggs in easy access for the snake. So we've got those boxes now mounted to the wall. Those are rollaway boxes. So that'll also prevent the chickens from eating the eggs if they were, in fact, nibbling on some of them. We do appreciate you joining us here on the Return Homestead today. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, would you please take a moment and do that? And while you've got that window open, hit that thumbs up icon. That's just going to let the algorithm know you enjoyed the video, so they'll share it out with more people. And we'll see you next time.